Welcome to the fifth annual Black Women in Media Digital Virtual Conference and Awards. Joining me, we're here at the Digital and Tech panel. Joining me, we have Martika Jones, Laura Mignol, and Jasmine Tiara. How are you ladies doing?
Amazing.
We're great,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Great. We're here to talk all things digital and tech. So I guess I'll start out by just briefly telling me a little bit about yourself and how you got to the points that you all are in within your careers. And I'll start with you, Jasmine.
Oh, I'm first. Yay. I currently design apps, and it started because I started with websites. But before that, my dad is also in computers. He left the military and computers were the next wave. And so he got into networking. So I've been able to type since I was 5. Around the same time I could write. So computers and technology has always been a part of my life. And now I use my tech skills to, build systems and handle the back end for entrepreneurs. All of my clients are Black women. And then I've also built a couple of my own apps and a couple of my own platforms specifically for Black culture.
Nice. And what about you, Laura?
Hi, everyone. I'm Laura Mignol, CEO of the experience agency D-Flash, and we design experiences online and offline that make people feel welcome. And over the last 10 years, we've always been at the intersection of culture and technology and building experiences that make people want to actually enjoy them. And we've had a really awesome opportunity to work with big brands like Netflix, Samsung, and Amazon and Bose, but then tons of nonprofits, and a large part of it is centering Black women in the experiences that we design so that, when you build these awesome technology conferences, the best women who are speaking are awesome Black women. So it's been an honor to do that over the last 10 years.
Amazing. And Martika?
Yeah, so my name is Martika Jones. I'm the founder and CEO of Collage and iLink Pro. And what we do is that we're a tech company that develops digital marketing tools to help influencers and small businesses leverage social media. My beginning is a little bit different. I am originally an orchestral musician. I play trombone for 13 years, and I went up north to New York to actually study with a principal trombonist of the New York Philharmonic, and that was my life for a long time, but I've always loved tech and been passionate about it. So after getting my master's in entrepreneurship, I decided to go this route and partner with actually one of my good co-founders, Santos, who is he was the CTO of Ideal Image, and he helped them go public for $750 million. So we're glad to have him on our team now, and so that we can continue to push forward and build awesome technology.
We love to see it for sure. So our theme is pivot. And, being in quarantine, being amidst this pandemic, a lot of us had to pivot and change the way, we operate on a daily basis. What does the word pivot mean to you, and how have you pivoted within your industries? We'll switch it up. I'll start with you, Laura.
Well, sure. I mean, my original background was I was a technical project manager for about 10 years. So I built lots of really expensive websites for companies that you all knew. And then by accident, because the technical company I was working for lost most of their funding, I ended up becoming a salesperson. And I was the behind the scenes person who doesn't talk a bunch. And now I talk all the time and never shut up. But what ended up happening was I saw the opportunity and took it. And that's how we were able to build our agency. I saw a hole in the marketplace where, okay, I want to design experiences that I want to go to, and then did that. And now during COVID, the same thing. It's like, 80% of our business was around live events, and we'd use technology and all kinds of really cool touch screens, and we couldn't do that. So how do you translate that live experience into a virtual experience? Well, fortunately, because of my tech background, we're able to quickly pivot and turn into a virtual agency, as it were, and work with companies to be able to tell those stories, still help create that empathy and feeling that you would have if you were actually in that experience. So it's a never-ending experience with regard to pivoting, and because you're never going to stop growing. And if anyone gets something thrown at them, you figure it out. And Black women, we especially know how to do this.
Oh, yes. Amen to that. And what about you, Martika? What are some ways that you pivoted and changed directions amidst this pandemic that we've been in?
Yeah, so definitely with pivoting, to me, that's adaptability, being able to be nimble in the market. And when we first started out, we were trying to improve the relationship between brands and influencers. And we needed to find something in the immediate time frame to, what can we get out now? What can we get out fast? And one of our things is trying to be able to marry our services with social media. So like with iLink Pro, that's how it was born, where we could, the whole link in bio situation we have on Instagram, all you can do is put one link there. So iLink Pro allows you to consolidate all of your links. If you have YouTube videos, Spotify, if you're a musician or you have a podcast, all of it right there in one single social media landing page, so that nobody has to dig around and scrounge around for who you are, and see if you're worth, following or staying with. You can put everything that you feel is valuable right out there to the world in that one single page. So when we launched in February, or did our official launch, we were like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to work out. But then I realized after a while that silver lining, we're going to help people not only chill, but chill harder, right? Since they're already there at home. So now we've encouraged that digital space. And I feel like, you can get information faster. If you're a teacher, you can get everything right there and put all that stuff out for your students. We found that this could actually break into several different fields. And that's what we've been leveraging with COVID.
I love it. I love to see the growth and the changing between the companies. And what about you, Jasmine? In what ways have you pivoted or, changed and adapted?
Yeah, so what pivot means to me is honestly being able to change and shift accordingly with society, right? And so I'm staying ahead of that shift before it's detrimental to your current business frame, right? So for me, my first business, Black Wallet, it's a Black business directory app. And so due to all of the things that have happened in America, specifically this year, my app took off this summer. But along with that, and everyone's renewed hype into buying Black and supporting Black business, a slew of other Black business apps have also come into play. So what we've done and shifted with Black Wallet is now Black Wallet is a visual directory. So instead of just listing businesses, now we have videos to accompany those listings. And so we're showing how Black businesses work as opposed to just describing them, right? And then a second platform that I launch every year, it's called the Black Sale. And so it lists all of the Black Friday and holiday sales of Black businesses. So previously it was just an e-commerce website. Well, this year we have to stay ahead of the trend. So we're also doing video for that. And so every product that you try to buy, every sale that's listed, it has a video attached to it. So you can see the product in real life. And then it's easier for you to buy and easier for you to support a business because you really understand the product. So our biggest shift in my businesses has been, hey, video is about to be the next thing, or not even about to be. It already is the next thing. So we need to capitalize on that and make everything visual from our standpoint too.
Nice. So ladies, we see you guys are CEOs in your fields, in your industries, your bosses. How important as a Black woman, we don't see a lot of other Black women who might look like us in these industries, how important it is for you to have this standing and to, bring other women on board within these industries. You want to switch it up a bit? I'll start with you, Martika.
Well, I think it's very important. You don't get to see like a lot of, female CEOs and they actually make it to the top, or Black female CEOs and stuff like that. And I think it's very important for this right here, what you guys are doing, which I commend you guys for creating Black women in media so that they can actually see everybody that's coming in. And I think it's our duty to also bring in, Black women or, as internships and things like that, to let them know that they can do this, and just being more public, putting your face out there, I think is very important. Trying to get on those podcasts or those TV shows or these video calls so that they can see that it is possible. You can actually do it. And, see all of our backgrounds. I came from a, poor household, and, my mom did everything that she could, and she wanted to make sure that I was the best that I could be. And I'm showing her that I'm able to be, just as great as she wanted me to be, and then inspire another girl to be able to do that as well.
Nice. And what about you, Jasmine?
Hi, I'm going to say something that is controversial, but real. So I am light skinned and I'm relatively cute. So for me, I am seen more often than any dark skinned woman. So I find it my job to try to do what I can do, and from that standpoint, and make sure that representation is equal. So a lot of women that I network with, I make sure I have a balance of shades. And then when I represent Black businesses on Black Wallet or on Black Sale, I really make it a point to make sure it's an equal representation of shades, because we're not shown in shades in a lot of other industries. It's hard enough for us to be in an industry, whatever your shade is, and then the darker your shade, the more rare you are. So I feel like if I'm going to be something that highlights Black people, I got to highlight all Black people.
Yes, and oftentimes it's like it can only be one of us, you know, like one of us, and that's it. So that's great to hear. And what about you, Laura?
So from the dark skin side of the family, it is imperative to lift as you climb, and keep that door and ladder open for the young girls behind you. And it's always been as a company mission for me, because I grew up with a lot of privilege. I went to private school, didn't have to worry about where I was going to school. But I lived in a town like 10 minutes away. There were lots of kids who looked just like me who didn't have those opportunities. And so throughout my career, I've always been kicking the door open and then like, come on in, the war is fine. Because I think a lot of it also is that I tend to be in a lot of white spaces. Like a lot of these big corporate companies hire our firm. And then when I build things, or I set up platforms, or I create experiences, and they're like, and I have all these different shades of the rainbow, and they're like, where did you find these people? I'm like, I know how to ask. So I think it's also when you have these opportunities, when you have the private dinners, when you have the private Zoom calls, like you've got to make sure that you are bringing up other young women of every shade and experience, even if they're kind of shy and new. Like, I have a bunch of mentees, and I'm always like, if you don't tell people how awesome you are, no one's going to know. So I think the key is that building your personal brand is key. And then part of your personal brand has to be to shine a light on others. And that's the only way we're going to get better at this.
Nice. And Laura, you kind of took us into my next question. What advice would you have for women, for anyone who wants to get started within the digital and tech industry? What do they need to do? How do they start?
Network. And that means go to the events. I don't care if you're the only one, so what? We have to forget that, that we have to be in every space. And, my whole thing is that, like, if you get invited to something and you're the only one, okay, that means you're in a really good room. And if you're and for the first time you go, you're the only one. The next time you get invited, you bring 2 other people who are just like you. You've got to build relationships, because at this thing, as we all know in tech, some people who are grossly unqualified get the position because they knew someone, because that person was son, or they played lacrosse or whatever with that kids. So when you have the opportunity, build the relationships, make them long and lasting, find out what you're good at, and let people know that, because we're not one dimensional anymore. Everyone has multiple aspects. Martika, was a classical trombonist, Jasmine's, a developer. Like, we have different aspects. We have to bring our whole full hybrid selves into places that we go and let people know that we're fantastic. And that's how you can build relationships and people fund you.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Ladies have anything to chime in on
that? Martika?
Laura,
okay. I do want to add, because my point was going to be, very similar. When I want us to stop apologizing for how we show up, and stop apologizing for what we are and how we look and how we feel. Like, stop apologizing. Your skill is what you show, and outside of that, stop apologizing for anything that has nothing to do with your work. We are so used to having to apologize and shrink to be in a space because we want to make sure we can stay in a space and fit in. And I don't care anymore. You guys need to shrink and bend to me. Like, that's just the rebelliousness that's in me. And I want us all to feel that kind of confident rebelliousness. Get in, do what you want to do, take over, because that's really why everybody's scared of us anyway. And then bring on the rest of us so we can continue to take over. I just feel like Black women should just take over the world. That's how I feel like.
yes.
I love it. Yeah, so bouncing off of that, with the whole stop apologizing, just being unapologetically confident. I cannot tell you, me coming in, and I'm just going to start with the master's program. Like, this literally was a Master of Science program in entrepreneurship. And coming in, think of it, the best way to describe it is Shark Tank. Think of it from taking your idea, so from ideation to implementation, and that's what you're going with. And in between, they're helping you build your company. So I going in first day, if I was not confident, I went in with a megaphone, saying, stop spending all your money on celebrities, micro influencers are the next big thing. I got their ear. But you have to be confident. And they were questioning me and they were doing everything, but I just sat there. If I answered the question, I thought, oh, that was stupid, I went with it. Same thing with trombone. If you're gonna play a wrong note, you play it loud and proud, okay? Like that's just how it is. Like you meant to play that. Like I meant to do that. But that's just how you have to be, is unapologetically confident, and then people will take you seriously. I didn't land my CTO, from hiding away and not networking, and I just I went out there and I had that lunch with him, and I brought that 20-page business plan or whatever, and I gave that pitch, and me now being 25 at the time, 24, he's like, wow, you're oddly mature for 24. He's much more successful. He's independently wealthy, but I could not let that intimidate me. And I showed up and I showed out, and then I got what I wanted. So that's my advice: to show up, show out, be unapologetically confident.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So talk to me. It seems like, from what I've been hearing, a lot of business for you ladies have expanded with the pandemic. A lot of people are buying black and shopping black now. We love to see it. Everything's digital. So that's a great thing for the industry. Just talk to me on how that has been implemented, and how it's been, I guess, a help for business for you all. I'll start with you.
That's what we're all waiting for. Who's first? No. If I remember correctly, the question is, how has expansion, how we implemented with expansion of our businesses?
Yes, do you think that the expansion that we've seen during the pandemic, is this going to be the new normal? Hasn't been detrimental to the industry at all. I mean, maybe you might think so. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
For me personally, and from my experience, first of all, tech was already on the rise. 2020 has made it so that a lot of the industries who were trying to slowly build in tech, such as virtual reality, virtual conferences, a lot of these virtual things, we were taking our time. And 2020 said, no, 2022 is here today. You need to get on the ball, go ahead and get to it. So this is not slowing down. This is not stopping. This is going to be here. It's going to be here for a long time. And we all need to just go ahead and, we're all trying to catch up and ride the wave. For me personally, business catapulted so much. I actually almost had a nervous breakdown in September. And so I shut my books for all of October, and I had to make an announcement about it. And I was like, I can't do any more one-on-one services. I'm hiring more people. Everything is going to have to stop. And I think that's also maybe something other Black women can take into account. Whatever field you're in, you are the reason why your company is working. And if you're not taking care of you, the rest of it kind of really doesn't matter. So that is a hard lesson I learned, but I did not fail in the process. My company still withstood, despite the fact of me having to step back. And so for me, this has been the best business year ever in my life, and I see 2021 being better as well.
Amazing. What about you, Laura?
Yeah, it's really up what Jasmine said. Self-care is really important at this point. We can be super successful, but if we're not taking care of ourselves, then it's not going to be worth it, because they're going to be sick. And so it's very much, and I think that's something I focused on a lot this year. One day we went from being, we're going to have a big year because all these events, and then in 48 hours, my entire industry shut the heck down. And we're like, this is bad. But it gave me, the gift of that was, it gave me a chance to refocus my creativity. And so we were able to, with virtual events, we're going to figure this out. We're going to get the best platforms and we're going to make this work. But then also, because of the racial unrest this summer, we ended up building a culture practice, because we actually understood how to talk culture to big companies in a way that didn't freak them out. But at the end of the day, the way you get in is the way you get in. And then once you get in, you can cause all kind of trouble. And so for us, that was something that we were able to build relatively quickly. So and we're on track for a really phenomenal year, and as well as with our virtual events, because we never made the tech overpower the experience. And I think that's the big thing about technology, whereby not everything needs an app. Not everything needs to have 14 steps for you to click, click, click to do something, when one will work. And that understanding of why you can make tech the best possible utility and best experience is why we've been successful, because there's a million and one event platforms out there. We find the ones that make the right sense for our clients, what the story they're trying to tell, and then execute upon that. Does that mean we need to use Oculus VR glasses? Sometimes, you know what? Zoom just works. And I think, but understanding that, giving the right solutions, but also taking care of myself in the midst of all of this is why we were able to survive and then thrive. And I think, oftentimes with Black women, we put a mountain on our backs and then we take another mountain and put on our backs. Yeah, we cannot do that. Let 2020 be the last year you ever do this. If you don't find the balance, whatever that might be, like meditation or sleep, or bike rides, what have you, you've got to do that. Otherwise, you're going to fall, and we don't want that to happen. We want us all to rise.
Love it. Yes. And what about you, Martika? You have anything to chime on in there?
Yeah. So with COVID-19 and everything and the pivoting, I can say that this year has been very good for us. This was obviously our launch year, but like I said earlier, February was pretty slow, but we didn't really start pushing and seeing that silver lining until I would say late June, early July. And I think in 1 month, or probably, 1 week, we got over 300 users. We're almost at 1,000 now, which we're very happy about. And I think that said something with what's going on. Obviously tech wasn't slowing down, like Jasmine said, and I'm a huge futurist. So I'm always looking at new technology, AI and all that stuff, because those are things that we're implementing. But I think this year kind of helped us focus on not just all of our products, but what was most important for this time, and maybe even, start adjusting our plans for our products that we're actually getting ready to develop once we receive investment. So I think this is a very eye-opening year. We brought people in kicking and screaming into 2020 who didn't know how to use a keyboard, but now they do, right? Especially in the education industry, where teachers, are all about presenting in person, and now they're like, what's this? What's Zoom? Or, so we're currently sitting back, looking around and seeing what our next move can be, for sure. But definitely I can say that this has been the best year for business for us, and going into it the way that we did. And I can also second on the self-care thing. And I feel you, Jasmine, on the breakdown thing, because that happened just a few weeks ago. And I can tell you one thing that I learned is asking for help is the biggest thing ever. I remember at one point I never asked people for help. Let's just say I have 7 interns now. Every day I'm learning how to be a better boss, and they're teaching me things that I would have never learned. And trust me, that was difficult, having to let go and kind of take that mountain off my back a little bit and trust people with the company. But I am happy that I can sit back, and I know that the company is still moving forward every single day.
Amazing. And it's also, it's that season. It's getting dark super early now. We have the holidays and so many things, to accomplish before the holidays and a new year. So that can be a lot of added stress, on top of everything else that we already have going on. So I definitely hear you ladies on that. So what about the future of the tech industry? Where do you ladies, I hate when you say guys, where do you think we're heading with that? What's the future look like for the tech industry? I'll start with you, Martika.
Well, I see a lot of interesting things happening in the future. I see a little more augmented reality coming into play. I see more live streams, and what I'm seeing just in the influencer area, because that's really what I'm big on, from being a past influencer to, now I'm kind of like the middleman between brands and influencers, and, developing digital marketing tools for them. I see, their needs and what they're looking for, and people are definitely looking for that real-time experience. So that's something that we're eyeing right now. So for me, I'm thinking more live streaming, more ability to do things within the live streaming realm, and a little bit more augmented reality, for sure.
Nice. And what about you, Laura?
Yeah, piggybacking on what Martika said, I think it's going to be a mix, because we're going to be able to see things. Look, we're a year out from ever going back to quote unquote normal. So what's going to happen now is going to be a lot of the things that you can't do in person, but you can now do with the gift of being online, and how people adapt with that. So we've all seen success of Versus, and how that was a platform that came out of nowhere, but was born out of necessity. So I think the platforms that are smart, innovative, that make the experience for people, whatever that might be, whether they're shopping, whether they're watching something passively, if they're live interacting, the technologies that make that easier for more and more people, I think are the ones that are going to grow the most in the next year or so.
Nice. And what about you, Jasmine? What do you think?
I think both of those points are great. And I think one of the resounding commonalities between all of the tech that's happening is that we're trying to recreate real life with tech. And so I see a lot of authenticity. We're trying to recreate authenticity. We're trying to recreate real life experiences. We're trying to recreate emotion through tech. And so I think all the tech that is coming in the future will be designed with the aspect of true connection behind it, as opposed to, trying to do things with convenience. Convenience has gotten convenience in every area at this point. And so the next step is to make, real life connections and bring authenticity to the convenience.
Nice. So I'm sure that you ladies mentor a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of women who aspire to be just like you. So I don't want to leave here without asking you, what's one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self? I'll start with Laura.
I would tell the younger me to not rush and enjoy the journey. Not everything is going to be solved by the time you're 30. And actually, between 30 and 40 is going to be awesome. You will learn a lot. I just think we oftentimes think that you have to do every single thing at this particular moment. And instead of just slow down and enjoy the ride, all the twists along the way will help you and turn you into a better businesswoman when you get older.
Nice. And what about you, Martika?
Actually, I was going to say the same thing. Don't rush, slow down, girl, because I can tell you right now through my experience, I always felt like if I didn't do this, I wasn't going to be successful. If I didn't jump on this opportunity right now, then it's never going to come again. I had to, the world was over at that point, and I had to just constantly reevaluate. And I realized that's actually one of the biggest things after I made the jump from music going into tech was that, I thought I wouldn't play music again after my injury. And I thought that was it. My life is over because that's all I knew. And the moment that I just calmed down, took that time to heal, not just physically, but mentally, I'm still playing music. I'm still, doing side gigs and stuff. I'm still doing what I love. And I love tech. I found something else I loved in the process of that pain. So, and that wouldn't have happened if I didn't take that advice and, just take my time and enjoy the process.
What about you?
My advice is actually the opposite of both of theirs. Young Jasmine or younger Jasmine, move. I spent a lot of time being very, very scared and thinking that since no one else was doing my idea, it shouldn't exist. And that since no one else was doing what I was doing, I'm weird and I stand out and, I'm too busy trying to fit in. Do things, Jasmine. Stop being scared. Stop overthinking. Move. Get out the nest, little bird. Go.
So just let us know, everyone who may be watching, where can we find you? How can we connect with you? Website, social media handles, anything like that. Jasmine.
Oh, yay. Okay, so for my at Black Business Directory, Black Wallets, it is the Black Wallets on all platforms. For my video sales holiday interactive directory guide, it is the Black Sale, and it's the Black Sale on all platforms. And then if you want to find me personally, I am jazztiara.com, Jazz Tiara on all platforms except Instagram. On Instagram, it's I am Jazz Tiara, JASTIARA.
Nice. And what about you, Laura?
You can find my company at dflash.co, and dflash NYC on all the social media platforms. If you want to find me or the podcast, the Reset podcast on all platforms. And then me is just LMIGNO, El Migno on all the platforms. DMs are open. I'm always down to talk to someone and have a chat. So they're open. Chat.
Perfect. And what about you, Martika?
So for my recent product, iLink Pro, you can find it on all social media platforms, ilinkpro.net. ilinkpro.me. And then the website is also ilinkpro.me. So ILINK pro.me. And if you want to find me personally, it's Martika Brianne. That's MartikaBrianne, and that's on all social media platforms.
Perfect. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining me and sharing your wealth of knowledge with us and sharing your story. Of course, we really appreciate it.
Thank you for
Definitely.
coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much.
Yes, of course. Bye.
Bye bye.